What they discovered in those laboratories confirmed everything the mystery schools had taught for millennia. Consciousness is fundamental. Observation affects reality. The mind of the observer participates in creating what is observed. The Global Consciousness Project has been collecting data since 1998 from random number generators around the world. The placebo effect proves what the ancient wisdom taught. Consciousness shapes physical reality. Welcome to the Reality Revolution. I'm your host, Brian Scott. And what I'm about to share, you are not supposed to know. This is the forbidden knowledge of reality creation. Before we begin, I want to invite you to join the Reality Revolution community on School at skool.com/Reality Revolution. We have one of the most vibrant and amazing communities anywhere on the internet with some of the most incredible people. We have weekly Zoom sessions, exclusive content. If you want to manifest something and you're struggling, come to us and let us help you. "5,000 years ago, beneath the pyramids of Egypt, a secret school operated in hidden chambers. They called themselves the keepers of the secret knowledge. And what they taught their initiates after years of preparation, testing, and purification was this: the all is mind, the universe is mental. Consciousness is not a product of the universe. Consciousness is the substance of the universe. Everything you see, touch, and experience is mind expressing itself as form. The physical world is not the foundation. It's the projection. Mind is the foundation. Mind is primary. Mind is all. The Egyptian initiates were taught that they were not bodies that somehow developed consciousness. They were consciousness that temporarily projected into bodies. The body is the dream. The mind is the dreamer. And the dreamer has far more power than the dream. This teaching was considered so powerful, so potentially destabilizing to the social order, that it was guarded with death oaths. Initiates who revealed the mysteries to the uninitiated were executed. The knowledge was too dangerous to be public. The Egyptian wisdom didn't die. It migrated into Greece, into Rome, into the mystical tradition known as Hermeticism, attributed to the legendary figure Hermes Trismegistus, the thrice great Hermes, who some scholars believe was a real priest king who unified Egypt and Greek knowledge. The Hermetic teachings encoded 7 principles of reality that, once understood, gave the initiate power over the material world. Let me share the ones that have been most carefully hidden. The principle of correspondence. The same patterns that govern the cosmos govern your consciousness. The same laws that move galaxies move your thoughts. You are not separate from the universe. You are a holographic fragment of it. What happens in your mind happens in reality, because your mind and reality are the same substance operating at different scales. The principle of vibration. Everything in existence is in motion, vibrating at specific frequencies. What appears solid is vibration. What appears still is vibration. Here's the secret application. Consciousness can change vibration. Your mind can alter frequency. What you call manifestation is simply the deliberate adjustment of vibrational rate. The Hermeticists knew this 3,000 years ago. Modern physics would take until the 20th century to confirm it, and then promptly bury the implications. The wisdom continued into Greece, where it took two forms. The public philosophy that we still study today, Plato, Aristotle, the Stoics, and the private mysteries, the secret initiatory rites at Eleusis, Samothrace, and elsewhere, where something was revealed that couldn't be spoken aloud. For 2,000 years, the greatest minds of the ancient world, Plato, Pythagoras, Cicero, Marcus Aurelius, underwent initiation at Eleusis. They experienced something there that transformed them, and they were sworn to absolute secrecy about what they witnessed. Plato's famous allegory, prisoners chained in a cave, mistaking shadows for reality until one breaks free and sees the sun. This wasn't philosophy. It was initiation teaching. The cave is ordinary consciousness. The shadows are what you think is real. The sun is what the initiates discovered, that reality is projected from consciousness, not the other way around. The Greeks taught that the soul, what we'd now call consciousness, exists before birth and after death, choosing its experiences, learning through incarnation. They taught that the material world is a school, a projection, a dream that consciousness uses for its evolution. And they taught that those who remembered this truth while still in the body gained extraordinary power over the dream. Then came the suppression. In 391 AD, the Roman Emperor Theodosius ordered the destruction of all pagan temples and mystery schools. The Library of Alexandria, containing perhaps the greatest collection of ancient wisdom ever assembled, was burned. Not once, but repeatedly over centuries until nothing remained. The mystery schools went underground. The teachings that had been passed for thousands of years became fragmented, scattered, hidden in symbols and codes that only initiates could read. The direct transmission was broken. For the next 1,000 years, anyone who taught that consciousness was primary, that reality could be shaped by mind, that humans had power over their experience, they were labeled heretics. Many were killed. The knowledge that had been openly taught in temples became punishable by death. But the truth can't be destroyed. It can only be hidden. And in the 20th century, it would resurface in the most unlikely places. The physics laboratory. In the 1920s and 30s, the greatest physicists on Earth gathered to solve a problem. Their experiments at the quantum level were producing results that made no sense. Particles behaving like waves, objects existing in multiple states simultaneously, reality refusing to be pinned down until someone looked at it. What they discovered in those laboratories confirmed everything the mystery schools had taught for millennia. Consciousness is fundamental. Observation affects reality. The mind of the observer participates in creating what is observed. I regard consciousness as fundamental. I regard matter as derivative from consciousness. Read that again. Max Planck, the man who started quantum physics, said consciousness is fundamental and matter is derivative. Matter comes from consciousness. This isn't mysticism. This is the founder of the field. The early quantum physicists knew exactly what they had found. They understood the implications, and many of them turned to Eastern philosophy, to Hermeticism, to mystical texts, because the ancient teachings were the only framework that made sense of what their experiments were showing. But then something happened. The implications were too radical. If consciousness was fundamental, if mind shaped matter, then the entire materialist worldview was wrong. Every institution built on that worldview was threatened: medicine, education, economics, political power itself. So a curious thing occurred. The equations were kept. The technology was developed, but the philosophical implications were quietly set aside. Students were taught to shut up and calculate, to use the math without asking what it meant. As Bernard d'Espinat, the physicist, once said, the doctrine that the world is made up of objects whose existence is independent of human consciousness turns out to be in conflict with quantum mechanics and with facts established by experiment. Observe that carefully. The idea that objects exist independently of consciousness, the foundation of materialist science, is in conflict with established experimental facts. This is a mainstream physicist admitting the paradigm is wrong. But this quote never made it to your textbook. Scientists who pursued the consciousness implications found their career stalling. Funding dried up, journals rejected their papers. The system had mechanisms, not conspiracy, just institutional self-protection, to marginalize research that threatened the paradigm. Let me tell you about some experiments you were never taught about. Experiments that were conducted with rigorous protocols, published in peer-reviewed journals, and then quietly forgotten. The Princeton Engineering Anomalies Research Lab, PEAR, operated for 28 years at Princeton University, one of the world's most prestigious institutions. They conducted millions of trials showing that human consciousness can influence physical systems. Random number generators, mechanical devices, electronic systems, all affected by human intention at odds of billions to one against chance. The effect was small but undeniable. Human minds were influencing physical reality. The data was solid. The methodology was rigorous. And when the lab finally closed, the results were never incorporated into mainstream physics. They were simply ignored. The Global Consciousness Project has been collecting data since 1998 from random number generators around the world. During major world events, 9/11, the death of Princess Diana, natural disasters, the generators show coordinated deviation from randomness, as if global human consciousness is affecting physical systems worldwide. As Dean Radin said, the results are incontrovertible. Mind affects matter. The question is why mainstream science refuses to accept its own data. Here's what the quantum physicists discovered and couldn't say publicly. The ancient mystery schools were right. Consciousness is primary, matter is secondary. The observer participates in creating reality. The solid world is mostly empty space held together by fields of information. What you call physical reality is more like a shared dream than a machine. And if this is true, if mind shapes matter, if consciousness is fundamental, then every human being has power that the current system depends on them not knowing about. The quantum revolution should have changed everything. It should have rewritten our understanding of what we are and what we are capable of. Instead, the technology was developed while the philosophy was suppressed. Your phone depends on quantum mechanics. Your worldview is still stuck in the 1800s, but the suppression went deeper than physics. It extended into the direct study of consciousness itself, research that should have made headlines but never saw the light of day. Starting in the 1960s, a wave of consciousness research began that should have transformed our understanding of human potential. Studies on meditation showed that trained practitioners could control autonomic functions, previously thought involuntary: heart rate, body temperature, immune response. Monks in brain scanners demonstrated states of consciousness never before recorded. Studies on remote viewing, the ability to perceive distant locations through consciousness alone, were conducted by Stanford Research Institute for the CIA. The results were significant enough that the program ran for over 20 years and was classified. When it was finally declassified, the statistical evidence for remote viewing was undeniable. The American Institute for Research stated, "The statistical results of the studies examined are far beyond what is expected by chance. There is no scientific justification for denying these effects." Psychokinesis studies, mind over matter, showed small but consistent effects across thousands of trials. Near-death experience research revealed consistent patterns suggesting consciousness continues without brain function. Past life memory research in children produced verified, documented cases that couldn't be explained by conventional means. All of this research exists. All of it was conducted by credentialed scientists using proper methodology. Almost none of it made it to the mainstream. But perhaps the most suppressed research is hiding in plain sight: the placebo effect. Every drug trial shows it. Patients given sugar pills believing their medicine show real physiological changes: pain relief, tumor reduction, depression lifting, Parkinson's symptoms improving. The body heals because the mind believes it should. And here's what they don't tell you: the placebo effect is getting stronger. Studies show that placebo responses have been increasing over the decades. In some categories, the placebo works almost as well as the drug. As Dr. Ted Kapchuk stated, "The placebo effect is one of the most successful treatments in medical history. If we could bottle it, it would be worth trillions." Think about what this means. Belief heals. Expectation changes biology. Consciousness affects matter at the cellular level. This is documented, proven, replicated across thousands of studies. And instead of exploring it, understanding it, teaching it, medicine treats it as a nuisance to be controlled for. The placebo effect proves what the ancient wisdom taught: consciousness shapes physical reality. Your body listens to your mind. Your cells respond to your beliefs. You are not a passive recipient of health or disease. You are a participant in creating it. The HeartMath Institute has been conducting research for over 30 years that should have rewritten our understandings of human biology. What they found: the heart generates an electromagnetic field 60 times stronger than the brain's. This field extends beyond the body and can be measured several feet away. The heart contains its own nervous system, 40,000 neurons, and sends more signals to the brain than it receives. When the heart is in coherence, a measurable state of harmony, the brain follows, immune function improves, cognitive ability increases, emotional regulation stabilizes, and when multiple hearts enter coherence together, something even more remarkable happens. The fields synchronize. A collective coherence emerges that's greater than the sum of its parts. This research explains what happens in mass meditation. In group prayer, in those moments of collective consciousness that feels like more than coincidence, it explains why crowds can feel electric, why some spaces feel sacred, why certain gatherings produce breakthroughs that couldn't happen alone. And it's been systematically excluded from mainstream education. Doctors aren't taught it. Schools don't mention it. The research exists, peer-reviewed and replicated, and almost no one knows about it. As the HeartMath founder, Dr. Childrey, stated, the heart is not simply a pump. It is the primary access point to human intuition and a powerful organizer of physical reality. Now you see the pattern: ancient wisdom, quantum physics, consciousness research, biological studies, all pointing to the same conclusion, all being marginalized, all being kept from the mainstream understanding. It's time to put the pieces together. It's time to see what they didn't want you to see. Let's connect the dots. Let's see what you weren't supposed to see. The Egyptian mysteries taught that consciousness is primary, that mind creates matter, that the initiated could shape reality through focused intention. Quantum physics proved that consciousness affects physical symptoms, that observation collapses probability into actuality, that the observer is inseparable from the observed. Consciousness research demonstrated that trained minds can influence random systems, perceive distant locations, affect biological processes, and survive the death of the body. Biological studies showed that belief changes cells, that the heart generates a field that organizes reality, that collective consciousness creates measurable effects. It's all saying the same thing. It's always been saying the same thing. Across cultures, across centuries, across disciplines, the same revelation keeps appearing. Here is the unified truth you were never supposed to know. You're not a body that developed consciousness. You are a consciousness that projected a body. The physical world is not the foundation of reality. Consciousness is. Matter, energy, space, time, these are expressions of mind, not the other way around. Reality is not fixed. It is responsive. It is participatory. What you believe, expect, intend, and feel, these are not passive reactions to a world outside of you. They are instructions that reality follows. You are not experiencing a pre-made universe. You are participating in creating it. Your thoughts have power. Your emotions have power. Your attention has power. Your intention has power. These are not metaphors. These are mechanics. The same mechanics that the ancients encoded in their mysteries, that the physicists discovered in their equations, that the researchers documented in their laboratories. And the reason this was hidden, suppressed, fragmented, and lost? Because knowing this changes everything. You cannot control people who know they are consciousness. You cannot tell emptiness to people who know they are the source. You cannot maintain systems of scarcity and lack when people know they are creators. Now you know what the initiates knew in the pyramid chambers, what the physicists discovered in their equations, what the researchers found in their laboratories, what has been hidden, suppressed, and kept from you. Reality is not happening to you. Reality is happening through you. You are not a victim of circumstances. You are a generator of circumstances. The world you experience is not fixed. It is your consciousness expressing itself in form. This knowledge changes everything. Health, wealth, relationships, purpose, power. Every area of your life is affected by understanding what you really are and what you're really capable of. But knowing isn't enough. Information without experience remains just information, so let's go deeper. Let's not just understand the forbidden knowledge, let's experience it, let's become it. Let yourself sink now into the space where knowing becomes experience. You're entering the same space that initiates accessed in the pyramid chambers, the same space that physicists touched in their equations, the same space where consciousness recognizes itself. You don't need to try. You don't need to effort. The knowledge has been planted. Now let it grow. Let it move from concept to reality. Let it become who you are. Feel the truth settling into your cells. You are consciousness, primary, fundamental, eternal. The body you inhabit is your creation, not your prison. The reality you experience is your projection, not your cage. Let that land. Let every cell receive it. You are not in the universe is in you. It always has been. This is what they kept from you. This is what you were never supposed to know. Now you're remembering. Now feel something deeper stirring, a recognition. Not learning, remembering. Somewhere beneath your conscious mind, you always knew this. You knew it before you were born. You knew it before you forgot. Remember, you chose this life, consciousness that you are. You selected this body, this time, this experience. You came here with purpose. You came here with power. You came here to remember what you're remembering right now. Remember, Reality responds to you. Every thought sends a signal. Every emotion broadcasts a frequency. Every intention shapes the field. You've been doing this unconsciously your whole life. Now you're doing it with awareness. Now you're doing it with power. Remember, you're not connected to everything. The separation you feel is illusion. The boundaries you see are temporary. At the deepest level, you are the same consciousness that looks out of every eye, that experiences every life, that dreams every reality. Now feel the power that's always been yours. It was never given to you. It was never taken from you. It was only forgotten. You are remembering it now. Feel the power to shape reality. Your consciousness is primary. Your intention is creative. Your attention organizes the field. What you focus on, you amplify. What you believe, you manifest. What you feel, you attract. Feel the power to heal. Your body listens to your consciousness. Your cells respond to your beliefs. The placebo effect is not curiosity. It's a demonstration of what you're capable of. Direct your consciousness toward healing, and healing follows. Feel the power to know. You have access to information beyond the physical senses. Intuition is real. Remote perception is possible. Your consciousness extends beyond your body and can access knowledge from anywhere in the field. This is who you are. This is what you're capable of. This is what they didn't want you to know. Not because you couldn't handle it, because once you know it, you can't be controlled. Now let this knowledge seal itself into your consciousness. This is your initiation. This is your awakening. This is your return to what you always were. The ancients knew, now you know. The physicists discovered, now you understand. The researchers documented, and now you've experienced. You are consciousness. Reality is your canvas. Every moment is an opportunity to create, to shape, to influence. You're not waiting for permission. You're not hoping for luck. You're not begging the universe for scraps. You are the universe. You are the creator. You are the source. Take a moment and completely just focus on that one thing. Take a breath. Let this integrate. You are not going back to who you were before this. Something has shifted that cannot unshift. Something has been revealed that cannot be unseen. The initiation is complete. Welcome to the truth they tried to hide. Welcome to the power that was always yours. Welcome to the reality you're now going to create. Let yourself return now to ordinary awareness, but notice nothing is ordinary anymore. You're seeing with new eyes, you're feeling with new senses. The world you're returning to is the same world, but you're different. And because you're different, everything is different. You know now what the initiates knew, what the physicists discovered, what the researchers documented, what was hidden for millennia, and is now revealed. You carry this knowledge in your cells, in your consciousness, in your very being. In the days ahead, you'll notice things changing, synchronicities increasing, manifestations accelerating, reality responding to you in ways you never noticed before. This is because you're finally conscious of your power, finally using what was always there. With this knowledge comes responsibility. You now know what most people don't. You know why the knowledge was guarded, not because ordinary people couldn't handle it, but because knowing is only the beginning. The initiates were sworn to secrecy, not to hoard power, but because the knowledge had to be lived, not just known. Head knowledge without heart transformation is dangerous. Power without wisdom is destructive. You've received an initiation today. Now comes the practice. Now comes the living. Now comes the long journey of becoming what you now know you are. Go forward now with what you've received. Create the reality you came here to create. Heal what you came here to heal. Transform what you came here to transform. You weren't supposed to know this, but you do. You weren't supposed to have this power, but it's yours. The door was hidden and has now been opened. The knowledge that was lost has been found. The initiation that was denied has been given. Now live it. You can find all episodes of The Reality Revolution at therealityrevolution.com. And welcome to the Reality Revolution. You felt it. That pull, like you're supposed to be somewhere else. Someone else. Like there's a version of your life that's already happening and you're just watching it from the wrong side of the glass. What if that version isn't somewhere else? What if it's right here, waiting for you to step into it? Not through years of work, not through more information, through a single moment of actual shift. Three days, one room. Everything changes. The East Coast finally has a door, and it's opening on February 27th. The question isn't whether you're ready, it's whether you'll answer.